So, of course, speaking of, the reason this Stardom show is so important is because it comes off the heels of that super newsworthy and, in both of our opinions, fantastic Utami Hayashishita versus Shiri main event from the most recent big show that was back on June 12th for the World Championship. That match went 43 minutes. It went to a double knockout, double stoppage, essentially, and it was, in most people's estimation, one of the best matches of the year, maybe the best match of the year. And according to, of course, Dave Meltzer, who holds a lot of pull in wrestling, one of the best women's matches of all time and the best one in two decades, essentially. So for those reasons, Scott, this show, I think, is super important for Stardom because there are going to be a lot of new eyes on the product. And it's interesting because the person they've put with Utami, who has essentially become this Okada-like figure at the top of Stardom, they're putting her against Natsuko Tora, who my best comparison would be somebody like Bullet Club era Evil, if we're comparing to New Japan or someone like that. A ton of heel heat with her Oedo Tai stable, and there's probably going to be interference, there's probably going to be weapons, distractions, ref bumps, that type of stuff. Not generally my favorite type of match, and something completely different from what they did with Utami versus Shuri. So Scott, what's your feeling around this match? Do you think it's going to be the classic Utami title defense that we're used to, or do you think it's going to be, something completely different and maybe not necessarily up to that standard?
So I've been thinking about this for like weeks, ever since Tora put down the challenge to Utami right after that match. And I will say that I don't know if Stardom was prepared for Utami and Siri to, break the internet per se and change the way people watch, but I actually think Tora is a great choice. And while the Mayu Iwatanis and the Julias would be, of course, probably even better choices because of how popular they are, I think Tora is a great choice because I like the comparison to Evil that you had, in the sense that people forget how good they are. I think that's key here.
I think that's a good point.
And Tora, when she gets going, one of the best, I personally think. I'm not like this out of this world Natsuko Tora fan, but I've seen what she can do. And a big pull for people is when two powerful wrestlers just go in there and beat each other up. Like that's what this is going to be, I think. And you bring up the Bullet Club, the heel tactics, which I'm expecting at least once or twice. I know I think you got a question on this yesterday, actually, of what to expect from Tora in such a match. I think you definitely should expect one or two interferences, but and if you watch the press conference today, we saw how Oedo Tai was there with Natsuko, and Queen's Quest was nowhere to be found for Utami because they just have a lot of big matches. As we'll get into, Saya Kamatani has the biggest match of her life, and so on and so forth. But I don't think that will ruin how good this will be. I think it's important to know that while, yes, be expecting that heel heat, I think what Stardom's going to do is let these two go. I think that, first and foremost, they've created something special here in these pay-per-views, and they've created something even more special with this Utami Hayashishita title run. Everything that we've seen has been nothing short of greatness since the beginning. It started with Momo, Micah, Saya, even Bea Priestley, and I don't mean to say that like mean. I just didn't know if they were gonna have a great match because, like, I've never seen their chemistry go that great. But Utami is not missing right now. I think that's why I believe this is going to be great. And Tora is a great wrestler, so I firmly believe not only will this deliver, but it's going to be up there as one of Utami's best defenses. Not the best. That's not changing. It's Siri. That's not easy to top. But I think this is going to be great.
I think you bring up a couple good points. I definitely agree that Tora, when she's on her game, can be excellent. I mean, just as good as like anybody out there. I think the best case scenario for this match is very similar to the B Priestley match, where just a ton of powerhouse spots, big moves, crazy bumps all over the place. It doesn't need to be it won't be, and it doesn't need to be the 43-minute epic we got with Shuri. I think it should be compact and just hard hitting from start to finish. My one fear, and you did touch on this, is because nobody else in Oedotai, except for Starlight Kid, who's kind of doing her own thing anyway, has really anything going on this pay-per-view. That makes me worry that they're going to get super deeply involved in the title match, and to the point where it becomes like a big part of the story around it. So I'm really not sure what they're going to do. I can't. It's conflicting my brain, which has told me that Tora matches, singles matches, just haven't been good over the last year, in my opinion. She had that match with Julia earlier this year that I thought was one of the worst title matches in Stardom history. That no DQ match, and yet my heart is telling me Utami is incredible. And Stardom has earned the benefit of the doubt, I would say, in these types of situations. I think if this was any other company, I would be more skeptical. But Utami, not that we throw around star ratings, but just as an example, I haven't seen Utami have less than a 4.25 star match as champion. And there is no other champion in wrestling who can say that, for me anyway. So I think they've earned the benefit of the doubt here, and I'm hoping it's going to be good. The one thing I'll say to end, Tora's not winning this match. This is a defense for Utami. It's hard to see her losing it before the 5-star Grand Prix later on in the year, but I'm very interested to see what they do to build some drama here.
One thing before we move on with the idea of Tora and Utami, all you have to see is their one tag team match in the lead up to this, I think, to feel confident about it. The way that these two went at it was like they've been feuding for months. They hit each other like it was a ton of bricks, and the beauty of it is Tora is trying to prove that she's the best. That's what I noticed in their little tag team match. She outpowered Utami. That's not something that happens. So I think this match, you should expect the same. She's going to try her best to show Utami who the best power wrestler is, just who the best is. And I'm really intrigued by that. I think while the scariness of the heel heat is there, this is going to deliver. Like you said, no one delivers in title matches like Utami Hayashishita in the past 365, honestly.
All right, so we're both obviously picking an Utami victory in this one.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to check out more of our stuff, hit that subscribe button. We're adding more video podcasts to our rotation. If you want to hear more content from Fight Game Media, check out the Fight Game Media Network on Patreon. We have podcasts at least 5 days a week and often more, depending on which tier you choose. With Tier 1, you'll get pro wrestling podcasts for $2.99 a month. If you're an MMA or boxing fan, or just want even more pro wrestling audio content, check out our $7.99 a month tier. In that tier, you may even hear AEW rockstar Jon Moxley join us now and again. Also, check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Fight Game Media.